channel. Um, but life's been crazy this year around this time, so games are a little sporadic right now. But anyways, tonight I am playing Vera, who is our
It did the delay
sorry.
thing again, so I think we
Yeah,
actually just went live. So continue, Kenya. Sorry.
sorry. Oh, okay. I am playing Vera, who is as everyone has found out, because she has had come to a situation where she's had to kind of start confessing some things to people and opening up to people. She is a changeling bard, eloquence bard, and she is currently a little irritated that we are getting sidetracked escorting a snobby rich lady to her house instead of going to rescue her girl, who was kidnapped by a giant shadow creature. So we'll see what happens with that tonight. And on that note, I'm going to toss it right down there to Mr. Matt, our very own Lux.
I am Mr. Matt, and I am tonight, as always, playing Walks. I run a channel called Fistful of Dice, and I make RPG books over at Absolute Tabletop. And yeah, really excited for tonight's game. We were just talking before we went live about how glad we were that we found a day to work this month, because the holidays kicking in always just mucks things up. So I'm happy to be here tonight, rolling some dice with these folks. So I'm going to pass it on over to M.
Hey, I'm Em. Very excited to get into things, see where it all goes. I'm playing Sylvie Levine tonight. And yeah, super pumped that we could schedule it in this month. So I can't wait. And I'll pass it off to Austin.
I am Austin. I'm going to be playing Pig. He's a bandit. Works for the Highwaymen. Oh wait, no, that's the campaign that exists in my head, and we will someday have to do one shot of. I'm playing Guillaume, who is very excited to be transporting this lady because it's interesting to meet someone who makes him look good. And so he's going to take the opportunity. Like, he's, not happy about having to be around her, but like it is a little nice being like, yeah, get a load of this lady. But I'm super psyched to get into this tonight, as I'm so glad we were able to find a time that worked. Sorry for being the fly in the ointment about tomorrow. And I'm I guess because we didn't actually go live, I'm gonna give Jeremy's warning. If you don't like swearing and bad content, then fuck off. And with that, I will pass it to Karen.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Uh, I'm Karen, also known as Myth and Gears. I cannot wait to get back to this tonight. What else do I have to say? I get to play Chimeran Diego Ruiz y Gonzala, among other names. There's a few. Will not divulge those at this moment. You can go back and look at other ones. And with that, we will pass you on to our DM, Jeremy. He's over there.
Fantastic. Thank all of you very much. Yes, Austin put it much more succinctly than I could have ever. So I think that's all of the basics that we need to cover. So, yeah, if y'all are ready, let's get started. Let's do it. The problem with letting the past define you is that it makes it difficult for you to see the possibility of change within yourself. If you are shackled to who you were and what you have done, then you can never ascend the ladder that raises you to higher purpose and better horizons. It is a harsh reality to accept that the past can never be undone, but the truth is that it is now set in stone. Trying to do so is a waste of the time and energy that could be spent on carving a whole new you. Instead, move forward with the whole purpose of defining yourself by your future. In the marches of Alta Venania, you discover the wreckage of a rosewood carriage. On the side of the road, its horses and guards torn apart by a vicious attack. Hidden inside, you found Marquesa de Mara Corregidor, and after a somewhat tense exchange, agreed to escort her safely back to her home. Strangely, she seems incessant that this attack was carried out by the notorious highwayman. So as we rejoin you, the 5 of you, plus your 4 were-rat compatriots, plus now the Marquesa, who is riding on Guillaume's horse, I believe. How do we find you? What is the current mood? Or is there anything that is being exchanged within or without the earshot of the Marquesa?
I think at some point Vera probably would have ridden up next to Lox's horse and out of the earshot of the Marquesa. And we get her where she needs to go. We get her money, and then we leave. The longer we're messing with this, more danger the women are in.
I agree. I've got your back.
No matter what task she wants to send us on.
I'm not about to start taking orders from this woman, so no, we'll get her where she needs to go and be on our way.
I'm worried about her.
We're going to get to her as fast as we can, okay?
Guillaume's not wrong. She does make him look good.
I think she makes the vampires in charge of the city look good.
It's true. She'll kind of like just like reach over and kind of like give him a pat on the shoulder and like maybe a little squeeze, and she'll say, "Okay, thank you for everything."
Likewise.
She'll kind of like just hold her horse up and let him continue on ahead.
I think Guillaume is currently riding back with the with our were rat retinue, just kind of checking in on them. Saying like, I apologize for this diversion. I think it's necessary, but hopefully we won't be too much longer with this nonsense.
Yeah, hopefully she pays.
Yes, it could be beneficial to all of us. He just gives a little smile and nod.
I believe there was also a moment that was requested between Chimeran and Sylvie.
Yes, but the open road might not be the appropriate time for
Ah,
just
okay.
saying.
All right then. So, the rest of the travel goes pretty uneventfully. Other than this woman continuing to kind of make a pain of herself. But eventually, you see Alta Venania in the distance, kind of set up on the top of a hill, with a little bit of town kind of spread out below it. The kind of rolling hills and valleys leading up to it, kind of slightly rising in elevation as you kind of steadily make your way closer to the mountains that you can see in the background. Eventually, you ride into the city through the gates, and you can see that there's quite a few guards here. Though they are not justicaros. They look like they are bannermen and bannerwomen who answer to the house corregidor. And from everything that you can see here in the streets, there's a lot of raw silver ore that seems to be being brought here from the mountains. A lot of miners and mining related jobs being carried out. A lot of, like I said, pallets and bags of raw silver ore that you would know is bound for the Aladalgan mines, or the mints, rather, where they'll be turned into coin. Eventually, you make your way through the town and arrive at the Via del Corregidor, the home of the Marquesa and the Marqués. Before you're even able to dismount off of your horses, there's servants of the household that kind of swarm the Marquesa, carrying her down off of her horse. And if she was an absolutely insufferable misery before, it's 3 times as bad now. She is playing up injuries that weren't bothering her a moment ago, and is ordering people around with a booming, shrill voice.
Vera's gonna kind of look over at Guillaume and like nudge him a little bit. Don't give her
I
the
know,
chance.
isn't she horrible?
You... Yes, she's terrible. Don't give her the chance to get distracted by the servants taking care of her and weasel her way out of this. Go.
Good point. Miss, thank you. Marquesa, I thank you so much for generously allowing us to escort you for the fee we agreed upon. But we are in a bit of a hurry. We have many matters to attend to. So if we could have our payment and be on our way, we would be
No, please,
much obliged.
I insist. I absolutely insist. She turns to the man standing behind her, kind of holding her elbow. We will need an extra 9 places for dinner, please.
I thank you so much for the offer, but unfortunately,
really
we are
should,
on a schedule
please.
and we have been waylaid already. As much as I do appreciate your grand hospitality, and this is a lovely, lovely estate, by the way. I'm truly in awe of your decorating ability, but we simply cannot stay for dinner this evening. But we would, I'm sure, all be happy to take a rain check, and I will pass through the area on my return, and I would be happy to stop here.
No, yes, you have not even yet met my husband. Please, I insist.
That is,
He will want to
that.
say thank you himself. Please.
Your coin will be thanks enough from you and your husband. I think we will all take it in the spirit of gratitude and kindness that it is offered. So, thank you, but no thank you.
Guillaume, roll me a persuasion check, please.
Okay. Oh, God. Okay, what is... Oh, uh-oh. And I have no inspiration. Persuasion, that's going to be an 8.
Okay, excellent. So Guillaume, you were laying this out there, and you can see the expression on her face like slowly changing as it goes from this kind of practiced poise to like soured disappointment. She says, "No, truly, I insist." And she snaps her fingers, and these guards that you have seen kind of wandering around are now taking up positions around the exits of this like courtyard.
Vera!
I would like to step in. Kyron is seeing the situation go sideways so quickly, and he would like to step in and approach the Marquisa, hold out his arm as in like as a gentleman would. Please, I apologize for my companion. He's just grumpy from the long ride. We would love to stay for dinner. Meet your husband and converse about all these wonderful things that you need to tell us and such.
You
And
see
he
her
starts-
working her lower jaw. Your best guess is it looks like maybe she's chewing on the inside of her bottom lip, kind of working it in circles. She kind of takes a sharp inhale. Very well. Please, again, adopting this immediate like poise again. Come this way.
And I will lead her, but she's like leading me, but I'm pretending to like lead her as, the gentleman that I am.
What are the rest of you doing?
Guillaume is just like sweating beads. Like he looks like he just like got every question wrong on Jeopardy. And just kept digging himself a deeper hole. And he just looks nervous and like, I don't think I did that very well. I think we're staying for dinner. Free meal, guys. Free meal. That's fun. We like that. We've been on the road. We could eat something good. They probably have good food. I don't trust these people, but they probably have good food.
As Guillaume is talking, I think that Lox is like not looking at Vera and then just slowly like he just turns to look at Vera like, I knew this was gonna fucking happen.
Vera locks eyes with Lox for a second, and then she walks up to Guillaume and slides her arm into his. She kind of leans into him a little bit. She's like, I've seen you talk your way in and out of the pants of no less than 24 women in a fortnight, and that's the best you could do with this?
Here's the thing. I'm not usually trying for the out. That part just kind of happens when I don't stop talking. And I think I just jumped ahead to that portion that time. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I kind of biffed that one. That's on me. I don't know.
Should have let me do it.
Yes, I absolutely should have. And next time I will.
Did everyone else hear that?
To be fair, it was your idea that I go say something to her at that moment. I do
Now
want to
she's
call
mad
that
at
out.
you.
Yeah.
She pats his arm.
Okay. He just looks like confused. He knows he just lost somehow, but he doesn't quite get how or why from what just happened.
Do you think we can add a taking us hostage fee to the money she owes us?
Jeremy, how many guards were there, by the way? Did it look like?
So initially, whenever she first snaps her fingers, there's probably 6 or so. But you notice, like, as the moments have gone on, and you're kind of like now being swept towards the estate itself, that a few more have started to kind of appear. They definitely seem like they've been alerted, might not be quite the right phrase, but put on notice, maybe.
He'll just kind of lean in close to Locks and like whisper, like, we could have taken them though, right? If they had like really tried to keep us here. And
We
oh, God damn. He just kind of slumps.
Vera kind of trades off from Guillaume to Locks, and she tucks into him. Jeremy, this is an excessive amount of guards.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There's probably
kinda
twice
leans-
as many that you would feel is like really necessary for something like this.
Yeah, she lets go of Guillaume's arm and kind of tucks into Locks a little bit and like slides in next to him and leans in and don't you feel that perhaps there's quite a few people at this party?
It is a bit overcrowded.
I'm not one for large crowds. I like more intimate settings.
Thing is, are the guards here for us or something else?
Exactly. I don't think we're really a concern.
Maybe we should chat one of these boys up and see if they might know something.
She kind of looks around at the fact that we're being herded and stuff, and if the opportunity arises. And then she puts on this like brilliant fake smile and starts talking about how famished she is and how draining the ride was on the road.
I think that Sylvie is going to, just be keeping an eye out. While Vera and Locke seem to be keeping an eye on the guards, Sylvie's going to be keeping an eye on any staff that run kind of back and forth or anything like that. If there's any kind of sense, I like to think that she deals with a lot of like servants of ladies, especially
Sure, makes
dealing
sense.
with a lot of the garments. So she's going to be kind of keeping an eye, keenly aware, especially looking for one that might be just itching to say something.
Okay. Roll me an insight.
It's a 12.
Okay. So you don't come across any that look like they're necessarily ready to burst at the seams. But you definitely get a sense that they are on edge. That it doesn't necessarily seem like your group is the source of this tension. It just seems like in general they're very much kind of like in a sense of like heightened sense.
I do have this feat called observant, which if I can see someone's mouth where I can understand the language that they're speaking, I can interpret what they're saying by lip reading.
Oh, that's badass. Okay.
So keeping that in mind, that's what Sylvie is going to be kind of looking out for, any like whispers or any things said under their breath.
Huh. Okay. So I think, given that context, that you're able to pick out little tiny snippets here and there, and it's always from where there's more than one servant that have kind of gathered together far enough away from the Marquesa that they can't be heard by her. And you get the sensation that try to see what they would be saying. Okay. One of them says something about, do we know if there will be another attack soon? Someone else says, it's hidden well enough, at least for now. People don't go into that wing. So I think that's probably the juiciest bits of what you might have been able to get. The rest is just kind of general complaints and things like that.
Okay, cool. Sylvia's going to keep that in the back of her mind for now. She's not going to say anything as they go for dinner.
Okay.
This entire time, Chimeran's trying to keep this woman mollified and distracted, actually, from the rest of the party as much as possible. So,
okay. You find that that's not difficult to do, so long as you placate her immense ego. She's very much kind of like giving the tour, kind of showing you around the grounds and the various places of the via. You would know that, I think you guys discussed it as a group, that the Marquess, the man who was the Marquess, died about a year ago, was brutally murdered, with similar descriptions to the kind of damage that you saw done to the carriage and the porters and stuff. And she makes no mention about this. Every time she mentions husband or says anything about being married, it's about her new husband, who's only been her new husband for about 6 months, give or take. But she speaks very, very highly of this individual and does not show a lot of remorse about her dead husband at all. Where is Udmar? The rest of you, as you're kind of moving about, you notice that the grounds are immaculately kept. And you see, even as you're kind of like making your way through this place, there are people who are kind of coming behind you and cleaning the floors. It's a little excessive, but you are led kind of further into this compound, and are soon approaching a dining room that is already being set for dinner. Okay, is there anything else that you want to say or do before you find yourself in the dining room?
Vera would ask for a washroom, some place to kind of go wash up and freshen up a bit.
But dinner. Of course, yes. And like two younger women will be kind of like have their attention kind of called over, and then she will instruct them to take you to a place where you can get ready and to perhaps even like do it for you.
Okay. Vera will okay. As they're helping her kind of freshen up and stuff, and she'll start asking them about the house, like and the unusual, like she'll say, is there always, she'll start this is a beautiful home, is I know that the Marquesa's husband, her former husband, he passed very untimely. And have they kept the home similar since? Have they changed many things? Just kind of
Whenever
trying to just
you,
get an
yeah,
idea about it.
whenever you start kind of mentioning the previous Marquise, they both kind of exchange a look with one another, and their demeanor kind of changes a little. And finally, one of them replies, and she just kind of shakes her head. We don't really talk about the Marquise. It was a terrible situation. It was brutally murdered.
Oh, oh. I had heard it was an untimely death. I wasn't aware of that. I traveled on the road with her, to be honest. Do you like working for her?
Roll a persuasion check, please.
A 19.
Okay. Neither one of them answers for a long moment, and then they shoot another look between each other. And, you know, one of them is like fixing your hair, standing behind you kind of at the vanity or whatever. The other one is, you know, I don't know, ironing the clothes or straightening out whatever you're going to be wearing. And they're not that far from one another. And one of them just kind of like gently elbows the other one. And then the one that's working on your hair says, No, she is terrible.
I know exactly what that's like. I was under the thumb of a very mean woman for a very long time.
But
Are there no other?
You escaped?
I did.
You can see that kind of gives them like a small little like sliver of hope. Maybe the wolf will kill her, the other one says.
The wolf? Who's the wolf? Is he handsome?
They kind of, again, exchange a look and look a little confused. No, the wolf of Alta Venania is a beast, a monster. He's killed many people.
This is all I'm not from here. This is there's a wolf running rampant? Does it have rabies?
They kind of shrug. I don't know. I've never seen him.
Did you say a monster? Like, is it as big as a horse?
No, but it eats them.
Has anyone been attacked?
Oh yes, many people. That's what killed the Marquise.
Case was killed by a wolf monster?
They nod.
I had heard it was bandits.
No, that's what the Marquesa keeps telling everyone, but the rumors are it was some kind of beast, some kind of monster, a wolf with fangs and claws. I may have said too much.
She'll kind of turn to the girl who's talking, and she'll know that Vera's clothes are kind of pretty much done at this point and stuff. Why does the Marquesa want to keep his death a secret?
I don't think
Doesn't she want people to know there's a monster that should be killed?
She seems to want to blame it on the highwaymen. But nobody has seen the highwaymen in some time, many months.
You two are both lovely. I am sorry that you have to work for such a wicked woman. And she'll actually kind of take her hands and maybe kind of start like tweaking the hair of the girl that was doing all the talking and stuff in like a very affectionate kind of way, like very gently, and just keep your chin up, and someday you will have your chance to escape and the world will turn around.
They kind of both turn their faces a little more towards the floor. But they kind of nod whenever you give this, again, glimmer of hope for them. And they say, thank you.
Who knows? Maybe if we pass back through this way, I'll come in here and steal you away myself and take you to the city with me.
Their eyes both light up. To Aladalgo?
Would you want to go?
Yes, I've always wanted to go. Is it even Mardeval right now?
Oh, yes, it is Mardeval. Yes. I was sad I had to leave. It's a wonderful time. You should have seen the dress I didn't get to wear, which was made by my friend Sylvie out there. Amazing.
They are both completely and totally transfixed on this concept now.
And she'll, before she gets up and kind of walks back out to the dinner, she'll just look at both of them, just thank you for talking to me. And this is our secret. All of it. Everything you said and everything I might be able to do for you.
They both nod emphatically.
Vera will kind of straighten up her back and nod to them and kind of put on that air of they're servants and I'm not, and turn around and walk out the door and head back into the hall and looking and feeling refreshed and head to the room.
While she was
yes
gone, in that meantime, I would Guillaume would want to seek out the Marquesa again.
Certainly.
And he just approaches, says, Marquesa, I would like to deeply apologize for my behavior before. It was so rude of me to reject your hospitality in such a manner, and I have came across as boorish. Please forgive me. I've spent too long on the road and have too long out of the graces, out of the company of people with fine manners, and I do want to apologize deeply and profoundly for my misjudgment, and thank you for offering us such a kind thing as a warm meal on a hard road.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that. I had begun to change my opinion about Aladalgan politics.
No, I assure you, they are bad. But
well, then perhaps that is more to blame than the road.
That could be.
Nevertheless, I accept your apology. If you wish it, you may sit next to me at dinner.
I would be honored. Although I have to say, I do think my companion Vera would make possibly a more interesting conversational companion for you.
She
but
kind
I'm
of like
happy to take the honor.
Almost like tilts her head back to like look down her nose at you. You would deny me twice in the same day.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I was trying to offer you an upgrade. I'm sorry. I'm Aladalgan politics, am I right? Just gets into your head like a worm. I will see you at dinner. Thank you. And he just like turns and just like takes a few steps just to avoid putting his foot any further in his mouth.
Perfect. Okay. Anyone else? Is there anything else you want to do or say before dinner? No? Okay. You are given a moment to ready yourself, to prepare a little. The dining room, like I said, is very immaculately set up. Places have been placed for all of you, including the were-rats. Though you would notice that the were-rats have been seated at the far end of the table from the Marquesa. Guillaume, you are in fact set beside the Marquesa. And then after a moment, an individual comes in as if, like in one of these movies where the person has been out riding the horse while everybody else has been, preparing, and he's coming into the room, like removing his, riding gloves, and is definitely kind of beaming from ear to ear. You see a half elven man who is significantly younger than the Marquesa, probably by 2 decades or so, and is painfully attractive to look at. And he walks in with the kind of swagger that only someone who has been told he is very beautiful his entire life could possibly adopt. He comes in smiling. He says, "Oh, are we supposed to have guests for dinner?"
I apologize for our unexpected intrusion on your meal. And he'll like rise to and like reach, take a few steps towards and walk, like reach out, try to shake his hand.
No, I absolutely love company. He kind of slaps his gloves down onto the table at the empty space kind of next to the Marquesa, where she kind of jumps and winces, but tries to like keep her smile through the wince. He comes over to you, Guillaume, and he throws his hand wide to the side before like streaking it in towards yours and like grabbing a hold of it and pumping your fist up and down, probably a good 3 or 4 feet. It's a pleasure to meet you. How are you? What is your name?
Okay. Guillaume de la Sote. It's a pleasure to meet you. And you are
Guillaume de la Sote. What a wonderful name.
Oh. And
I
he
love
like kind of
names.
realizes like he got so caught off guard by this guy that he just like straight up gave him his real name and is like, "Oh yeah, I'm wanted for murder. I should probably not do that." But that's just that's an aside internally. But yeah, I think this guy just like threw him off. Like this is one of those things where he's like, "I'm not into you, but you are nice to look at. Like you're too perfect. I wouldn't want any part of that. But like it's nice to like look at." But it was like it shocked him, I think, into that like. And you are?
My name is Sabrino Le Trobofeo. Do you ride? He like reaches out, like grabs a hold of your shoulders. You look like you might ride.
Yes. A horse, I assume you mean.
He kind of like slaps you on the shoulder. Of course I mean a horse.
That too.
Like I would ride a donkey.
Oh, yes. I suppose you could.
The rest of you, are you all de los Dotes?
Oh, gods, no. No.
No, not at all.
Oh, I see. He looks almost like he's maybe confused or maybe disappointed. It's hard to tell.
Are you are the Marquesa's husband, I assume?
Oh, yes, he says, like almost like he's completely forgotten. He goes over to the Marquesa and like bends down and like kisses her and like kind of in an inappropriate way in front of mixed company, kind of kisses her. And kind of stands back up almost like he's just done like his good deed for the day. And turns around, he says, "What are we having?"
Sylvie is loving this whole like display. She has to like cover her mouth with a napkin in order to just stop from just like seeing this the just like epitome of like someone trying to play politics and doing
Yes.
a job at it. So she is just delighted at this.
He turns and he says, "Oh, I am a Marquess," and he kind of bows, and you can tell like he's been practicing this bow, and he definitely has not gotten it down yet.
This whole entire time, Chimeran is actually watching the Marquesa for her reaction to her husband.
Like a worm on the end of a fishhook. She is like fidgeting and like very clearly uncomfortable about this entire situation, but trying really hard to keep it all under wraps.
Does she look like she's embarrassed, or that
Yes.
she is worried? Okay.
Yeah, like embarrassed.
While this is happening, Lox will like flag down any person on the staff and just be like, can I get just a tall something, just anything that's open already, just a tall one, please?
But of course, would you like an Olivida, sir?
What else do you have?
We have meat, ale.
That'll do.
Oh, very well. And he'll kind of bow and move off to go find you a glass. The Marquess from across the table. Is that an eye patch? Do you have an eye patch?
Yes, very observant of you. I do indeed have a patch over.
He's like gotten up from his chair and is like making his way around the table.
He's coming over here. Yes.
Is it real?
Yes, it is.
What happened? Did someone stab you in the eye? Was it an arrow?
I'm so clumsy. I tripped and it just popped out of my skull.
That is insane.
Yeah, they can do that.
He says with absolutely no amount of like wherewithal at all about how rude this is, how outlandish of a behavior that this is at all.
Yeah, hearing this, I think Guillaume will just chime in with like, I heard a guy sneezed one time and it popped right out. Too hard, just sneeze too hard. Just to like see if he'll buy it. He's just kind of testing the waters after he seemed to buy the fell and like tripped.
He literally like reaches up and like touches his nose.
He's just trying to hold it in. Don't do that. Sneeze if you need to sneeze.
No,
don't squeeze your nostrils.
No, I don't need to sneeze. It's fine.
No, not right now. Just in general.
Oh, your sword! He kind of looks down at Lox's basket hilt, like at his hip.
Yes, I do carry a sword.
It is absolutely breathtaking.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Does he have a weapon on him, Jeremy, or is he just riding clothes?
So right now, yeah, he only has riding clothes on. But the way he holds himself, and if what you were told is to be believed, he is a knight. So your guess is he probably knows blades.
Do you fence? Spar?
I do, yes. Would you like to have a match?
Lots you should. Maybe after dinner it would be so entertaining.
Oh, come on. He almost like adopts like a fighting stance. He picks up like one of the forks off of the table and like pretends to like, do some moves with it in your direction.
Lox, it would be a great learning opportunity, I think. You might pick up something from this man.
Guillaume will just very quietly, like under his breath, whisper a message to Lox that says and say, kind of feels like it would be like hitting a child. I wouldn't.
Maybe you're too scared. he says as he kind of like stands up and puts his free hand kind of on his hip. Maybe that is the problem.
Never mind, kick his ass.
I mean,
Who could blame you?
I tripped and fell and my eyeball came out of my skull, so not much scares me.
That's true.
Friend.
You only have the one left.
Yeah, a duel sounds great. Why wait until after dinner when we're all weighed down with food? Why don't we just do it here before the starters come out, huh?
Yes, that is a wonderful idea. I will go get my sword. The Marquesa says, no, we will sit and we will eat. He kind of like stops, hangs his head, as if like a child that has just been scolded. Yes, dear, of course. Kind of looks at you like, man.
You know, I just need to say, like, Guillaume throughout this whole thing has like, he now has like a begrudging respect for the Marquesa, because like in his head he just keeps thinking like, man, in Aladalgo, like all the people like marry for politics, and then they have their like hot dumb mistresses and like affair partners. And like this lady, she was like, no, I want my hot dumb sex guy around all the time. And she just did it. And like, fuck it that he's dumb as rocks and like doesn't know how to deal with other human beings. Like, he's adorable. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. She's Pokemoning, and she just decided to marry her sex idiot. And I love it. Like, I don't know. Like, Guillaume is like, yeah, you go, girl. He's like 10% more on board with her now. He's like, yeah, you're insufferable, but like, respect.
Good. Glad to hear that. The first course is served after he has found his seat and somewhat been his leash has been kind of shortened. He starts to try to behave himself a little more. He goes to pick up, one of the forks, and he kind of looks at her for a second, and she kind of very subtly like shakes her head from side to side, and he puts it down and picks up the other one and then starts eating. It's very clear that he is having to be shown the proper etiquette of how to do things, if that wasn't painfully obvious before. Midway through the meal, she says, since the evening is already almost over with, would you please? I would love for you to stay the evening. We've already made up the guest rooms. Stay, enjoy the fine food and the wine, the Olvida, if you will have it. There is something I would like to ask of all of you. If you would, I would like for you to bring me the head of the wolf of Alta Venania. I would be willing to pay you more than we already agreed upon, naturally.
With all the most respect, you do know that I am a seamstress, and she and like points to Vera, is a businesswoman. Surely you have a hunter who would be more than qualified to hunt this wolf down.
At that, Sabrino like perks up. Oh, he kind of raises his hand. That's me. And she just kind of like shakes her head side to side again, and he puts his hand down and kind of like hangs his head again. You've already shown such courage and aptitude whenever you came to my rescue on the road.
I mean, ma'am, we pulled on a rope in the ceiling of a carriage.
I cut the rope first. I had no idea what was going on with that. Like,
You're so modest, she says, like towards the Marquise, who kind of like nods while he's chewing.
Why us? I really am just honestly, why us? We're just traveling. We brought you home. We've, as my lovely friend Sylvie pointed out, she's a seamstress. I am a businesswoman. Guillaume is
man
a
about town, I think.
he honestly he sits in libraries most of the time.
I am a student. I guess you could call me that.
We're not exactly the monster hunting type. What makes you think out of all of your guards that are everywhere in your home that why not send 30 of them out to go kill this thing?
These guards are here for defensive purposes, to keep my family and my house safe. This
Is it a
is
wonderful defense, a respectable offense? If you kill the wolf with your guards, then your guards won't have as much to defend from.
This is certainly spoken by someone who seems to know what they are talking about, which is precisely why I would like to hire you. I have not the faintest idea of how one would go about solving this kind of problem. I just know that it needs to be solved.
I don't know how to kill a wolf creature. I play chess. I mean, I can talk your ear off about playing chess and defense and offense and all of that, but Guillaume would be a snack for this thing.
I'm a snack for anybody.
That's true.
The Marquise kind of like laughs under his breath. She kind of dabs the corners of her mouth with her like silk napkin, and then kind of like carefully starts to fold it, kind of precisely. I don't understand why everyone seems to think the things that I say are merely requests. I am the Marquesa de la Alta Venania. This is my home. You are in my land. I have a problem that needs to be dealt with. I want you to deal with it.
No.
She looks genuinely shocked. I see.
Oh, Marquesa, what do you want from us? I'm not going to look at how I'm dressed. How am I going to kill a wolf dressed in thigh-high boots with a pan flute stuck in my garter? Would you like me to sing it to death for you?
I frankly don't care how you do it, as long as it gets done. I have hired many other adventurers to try and kill this beast. They have all failed.
Now you're throwing random travelers at it? I don't
saw
mean to
the
be
way that you all
disrespectful,
looked.
but also, what the hell is your plan here?
Perhaps the king could assist you with it if you informed him of what the problem was.
Everybody roll perception for me, please.
19.
24, 19,
24. Yeah.
16.
24, 16, 17, okay. So all of you hear the Marquise kind of like suck air through his teeth that kind of noise whenever you bring up mentioning this to the king. Chimeran, you are the only one who notices there is like a visible twitch at like the corner of the Marquesa's eye. I would never presume to trouble the king with my issues. This is an Alta Venania affair. We will take care of this problem. I am offering for you to do this. You are my guest for this evening. Please, take the night to think about it. And I do suggest that you think about it. She folds her napkin a final time and kind of sets it down on the table next to her plate, a little roughly. The silverware kind of jumps. The Marquise kind of jumps in his chair. And then she scoots her chair back before any of the servants can like get to her to scoot it back for her. She stands up.
In
Go
the
ahead.
process, Guillaume wants to like throw her off and like interrupt her with this. So let's just be clear here. What are you threatening to do to us if we refuse? Because I certainly heard a threat in that. Like he wants to ask her this like as she's like, you know, in the process of scooching back and standing up so that it kind of like fucks up her flow.
Yeah, she definitely kind of catches a little as she goes to like straighten her clothing out, and she clasps her hands in front of herself, and there's a long pause before she seems to like really be able to find what she wants to say, and she says, "Oh, there is no threat. I would never threaten anyone."
Wonderful. Then I'm assuming before we retire for the evening, you'll be giving us the payment that you owe us for your safe escort to your absolutely lavish home.
That payment will be gifted to you tomorrow morning whenever you leave.
Well, I mean, I just think knowing that our payment is in our hands would probably help us think a little bit better this evening.
Well, perhaps that is the problem. Maybe you should not think.
You just told us to think.
I am tired. All of this journeying on the road, and the attack that I suffered has taken its toll on me. I would like to retire for the evening.
I understand. You are just so tiring. I understand. Have a good evening.
She kind of stops and turns, trying to see if she heard you correctly, and then turns away and kind of huffs out of the room.
Hey, Jeremy. Are the servant girls that helped me get ready before dinner in here during this whole exchange?
Sure, yeah.
I'm just wondering what they're doing, the expressions on their faces, how they're reacting to this whole thing that all of us are having with her.
Poorly contained shock, I think, is probably the best way to describe their expressions. They have not said a word. Nobody in the room said a word after her anger was turned up. Almost like, you know, they were afraid to call down her ire, kind of thing. Whenever she is gone, the Marquise kind of, that was a little tense.
Vera looks over at Guillaume and Lox and Sylvie and everyone. That was tense. Didn't.
Yeah, I thought she seemed nice.
Very pleasant.
He's just like, he's making like eyes at the other people like, what the
The Marquise
She'll,
kind of like leans over towards Guillaume. Are you going to finish that?
No, go for it.
Oh, fantastic. He just picks up like your entire plate and like starts eating like, you know, whatever side dish it was that he had been drawn to with his own, you know, silverware. I'm starving.
Whatever he's eating, I don't know, maybe it's the potatoes or something. Vera's going to kind of grab her plate, seeing him do this, and she's going to walk over to him with her plate, and she's going to take her fork and poke one with a fork and kind of hold it out to him to like feed it to him.
He kind of like mid chewing, like open mouth chewing, he kind of looks up at you. Oh, you're the best. And he kind of like leans out and like takes the bite from you.
She's
My favorite.
So, since the Marquesa is so tired and has gone to bed, what are you doing for the rest of the evening?
Well, I'm going to duel him. And he kind of like shakes his like potato covered fork like towards Locks a little bit. And then maybe I might go for another ride. If he, Guillaume, he kind of like tries to remember, is up for it, maybe he'll go riding with me. What, do you want to go riding?
I'd love to ride.
Wonderful, we have plenty of horses. Do all of you want to go riding? We could go riding together.
Yes,
All
we
as a big
actually
group.
have our own
Absolutely.
horses. We could ride.
We should let our horses rest and ride theirs.
Or we could ride our own.
Oh, yeah. Well, who knows? They're probably rested, anyways.
They can rest when we return.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Do you also sword fight? Because I could do you after I duel him.
You want to do us both?
Oh, yeah. Why not? It's extra practice. Gotta keep my sword sharp. He like points to his temple.
Yes. You must keep your sword sharp, as she pokes another potato and feeds it to him.
He eats it again, oblivious to any connotation
I know.
whatsoever.
I know, and I love it. All right, so it's duel, ride.
Too bad we can't duel and ride at the same time. That would be amazing.
You can actually. It's called
possible.
jousting.
His eyes get real big, and he like lets his potato-filled mouth kind of hang open for a second. Let's do that.
Oh, I shouldn't have said anything. I make it a point to never joust.
We also don't have any of the very specialized equipment that is needed for both jousting and secondarily practice jousting, where there's like a whole secondary component that breaks. It's a lot. But you can get it. You can get all that stuff.
You kind of
like
lost me
next
a
time
little
we're
bit.
coming through here, we'll joust for sure.
After we leave tomorrow, why don't you get this equipment that Guillaume's talking about, and when we come back through, we'll joust with you.
Do we know where he's from? Is that something that we...
So yeah, you could roll a probably I don't know. I guess history might.
Isn't he from the area? I thought I asked about like what I had heard.
He has served this area as a knight for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess maybe a history would probably be.
Okay.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
If Sylvie doesn't know offhand, I think she would ask him.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
She would, where are you from? Where were you born and where did you grow up?
Oh, well, I'm part Gerdessi. My mother was from here. My father was a sailor. He came from Vikeril. It's a place across the sea.
Yes, I do know of Vikeril, yes.
You do? Have you ever been there?
When I was younger, yes.
I used to hear stories about it, but lots of like jousting. Like he kind of points to Locks. You know, people wearing all metal armor. Completely covering their faces and everything, and people with woods that are so deep and dark that you can hardly even ride a horse through them.
Yes, I have heard all of those stories as well. It can be I'm sure some of them are a little bit exaggerated, but who knows? Maybe you can travel with your the Marquesa and go and visit.
Yes, that would be great. We could do horse riding and then sword fighting, and then we could go to Vikeril. Do you want to come with me? Since you've been there, you could show me around.
Would you not rather go with your wife? She said.
Oh.
Sylvie says very slowly.
He says, "Oh, like again, almost like remembering her, like as an afterthought. Well,
Yeah.
She could come too. I mean, somebody's got to pay for it."
Mm-hmm.
Well, that answers my next question.
Yes, you can come too. Of course you
great.
can.
Great. Yes. Never seen the place, but read
I don't know that we can ride
stories.
horses on the boat, though.
Well, no, probably not.
Well, we can still sword fight, though. There's plenty of room on a boat to do that.
Some forms.
This is great. I'm so happy that y'all stopped for dinner. I'm going to talk to her about it and see if maybe we can get that set up so that we can leave. I don't know. How long does it take to get a boat ready? Tomorrow?
Let's put a pin in that because we still have business to attend to. So we'll do all that when we come back. We'll be stopping back.
Right. You have to kill the wolf. Yeah, that might take a little bit of time.
Yes. What do you know about the whole wolf situation?
The wolf of Alta Venania, it's like a proper monster. Big yellow teeth and black claws and like not like a normal wolf, like a big wolf, like a scary wolf.
I was just thinking big scary wolf. That sounds like.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Did you see it?
Me? No, I don't think anybody's actually seen it and lived, to tell you the truth.
Okay, so I guess I have a question about that. If nobody's seen it and told to live, and live to tell the tale, how are there so many tales about it, and how do people know what it looks like?
Well, and he kind of starts and then stops, and you can see him really concentrating. That's a good point. Yeah, if everyone who's seen the wolf gets eaten or dies, they can't have told anybody about it. Unless they told them about it before they died.
Oh, close. No, yeah, no. Really, you were on it with the first one, because usually if the thing is killing you, you don't have time to tell someone who can't also see the thing that is killing you.
Unless you told the wolf, and then the wolf passed on your last words.
I have to say you've got me there logically. I do want to introduce another wrinkle to this. The wolf wouldn't do that. It's a wolf. It would kill you. instead of telling you a message that
And-
someone was asking you to deliver
I'm
or
not
asking it to deliver.
Do we even really know if
True.
it's a wolf if nobody's left alive to tell about it?
Well, I mean, it has to be a wolf. Like, I've seen his tail.
You've seen his tail.
Okay, slow down. Yeah,
Oh,
let's go back to that.
No, I left something in the stables.
No, I don't think you did.
No.
Kind of
I
pushes
think-
his chair
I think-
back away in from his table, and he starts to get
Yeah,
up.
I'm gonna go ahead and just like
Um,
try to push. I don't remember if my strength has been fixed yet or if I'm still like 5 strength, but I'm just gonna try to like push his chair back in.
Okay, so yeah, I think your strength is back to normal. You've had quite a bit of rests between when it happened and now. So yeah, go
Okay,
ahead
well it's
and
still
make
8.
an
so-
athletics. Okay. Yeah. Let's.
Oof.
I would like to aid him, if at all possible, by using my feet under the table to do the same thing. Like,
Okay, so you can roll with advantage then, Austin.
Thank goodness. Oh, hey, hell yeah. Because the first one was a 10 minus 1, and the next one's a 19 minus 1. So 18.
Okay. So I rolled a natural 20.
Well, I was fucked either way.
So you step behind him and try to push his chair back in. Chimeran is trying to reach under this table to try to like grab a hold of the chair with his feet. This individual, he pushes hard back away from this table, hard enough to cause the chair to hit your foot, Guillaume, and tip over backwards. You go spilled out underneath the back of the chair as he kind of tumbles on top of you and then rolls off to the side. And he gets up. He's like, "Oh, sorry, forgive me. It was fantastic to meet all of you, and I can't wait to see you on the boat." And he turns and he kind of like runs towards the door.
What about riding horses?
There's a duel tonight. Are you backing
Yeah,
out of
you're
the
supposed
duel?
to duel too.
should we follow him?
He
Jeremy,
like puts his hands on his ears like as he's running away.
I think that perhaps not all of us should go. I think we have scared the poor. She like, man, she says as she like, he was interesting.
I'm gonna go see if I can catch him. I feel like, yeah. And Lox will take his drink and go out the door that he just walked out of and try to catch up to him, call out to him if he needs to.
Vera's gonna hand him a second like glass or whatever the Marquis glass that he was drinking out of, and as she hands it to Lox, she's gonna kind of pat him on the shoulder, and I'm going to give him a bardic inspiration to take with him for the talk as he goes. She says to him, I didn't have time to do it, but I wanted to read his thoughts when he started talking. We've got to get him out in the woods alone, away from her and away from all the people here. And she'll kind of pat him on the shoulder and go.
Lox just says, "I will try my best," and he'll take off.
All right. As
Well,
Lox
part
is,
of me wanted to kiss
ahead.
him, but most of me just wanted to take care of him.
I kind of wanted to put him in my pocket and like
Right, like
He's-
protect him.
he's
He's-
so,
So dumb,
and it's so endearing.
but like so hot.
He's not really my type, but he is attractive. Yes.
Yeah, no, same. I'm like, no thanks, but also, yes, please.
Sure. I mean, why not? I'm bored.
It's like wood don't need to.
Exactly. It's not like the saint.
Very much needed to.
Yeah, that was fun. Anyways, she'll look around the room for probably one of the girls that she knows from the and just say, dear, could you show us where our room is going to be? I believe we're all rooming together tonight. We're not getting individual rooms.
Of course, yes. Right this way.
Thank you.
And as the grouping of y'all head off towards where you are going to be hosted as guests for the evening, and Lox kind of makes tracks to go after Sabrino, I think we're going to go ahead and take our break here. So we're going to take a 10-minute bio break, refill your drinks, go to the bathroom, kiss your spouse, smoke them if you got them. And yeah, this has been a blast so far. I can't wait to get to the second half of what we have for tonight. So sit tight, and we will be right back. and welcome back to Evermore le Masquerade, where we tell silly stories and sometimes roll dice. Yeah, this is an ongoing D&D 5th edition campaign called Evermore le Masquerade. This is session 22, In the Clothing of Sheep. So we find ourselves in a place kind of in the northwestern part of the country, getting towards the area where the land starts to fold into mountains, the mountains of Kreklin Ridge that kind of stretch to the west. This place is called Alte Venania, and is kind of a smaller march borderland type place that borders a desert. But you have come here to bring the Marquesa back home, and it turned into a slight hostage situation? Question mark. She's bizarrely hostile, and very intent on getting her way, it seems. Although we have discovered that somehow her new husband is an absolute dish, and it's fine to have more of him around and less of the Marquesa, it seems. But it seems as though the poor new Marquess has felt he's overspoken at dinner, and he mentioned something that clearly made him uncomfortable, and very quickly he got up and ran off. The rest of you are being shown to your quarters for the evening. However, Lox has pursued our dear Sobrino with the intent of cornering him for more questions, perhaps. I think you find him, Lox, in the stables, where he is kind of half-heartedly, angrily, kind of like stabbing and like chopping at like a bale of hay with his sword. Stupid, stupid, stupid.
Lox would sort of, realizing that he's approached too quiet for him to notice, will kind of like scuff his boot heel in the dirt to sort of announce his presence. And when he turns to look at Lox, Lox will kind of like hold up his drink that he left at the table. Didn't want to let it go to waste.
Yeah, thanks. He kind of will come over to you after considering it for a moment, and take the glass from you.
What was he drinking?
It's probably a glass of Olavida.
I've never cared for the Olavida myself.
He kind of nods and looks down in it. Yeah, I guess it could kind of be an acquired taste. The Mochlands have kind of a drier type, I guess, is the best way to put it. It took me a little while to get used to it. You come from Aladalgo, right?
Come from a little bit of everywhere, but yeah, chiefly. I acquired a taste for mead in my travels. I don't know if you ever partake, but it's particularly good. The kind from your larder, I have to say.
I never could really try it myself. It's, mead, meat. It's just too close. It grosses me out.
Well, some people call it honey wine. Maybe call it honey wine, and he'll take a sip and then he'll pass it to him and say, "Try it."
So it doesn't taste like meat?
Not even a little bit, no.
He kind of shrugs and smells at the glass and takes a sip. Hey, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's a little sweet, a little sour, a little bitter. I like it.
It's It's just like honey.
That's how they make it, I guess.
It's made from honey?
Yeah, lots of other stuff too, but mainly honey.
So, bees are basically like dwarves.
I guess they are. Yeah. That's an
Huh.
astute observation. So
Wow.
I was disappointed that we're not going to do our duel anymore, but
Oh,
it's probably for the best
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just not really in the mood, you know?
Yeah, well, man, I had a lot of good questions too for it, but
Hmm?
what's that?
What do you mean, questions? Like you fight with questions?
Yeah, questions for the duel. Blade of Truth.
The blade of what? Like is that like a magical sword?
Hang on, you've never played Blade of Truth?
Well, I mean, I probably have. I'm sure
No,
I
you'd know.
I'm sure I have.
You'd know if you had. It's
No,
a whole
I
new
definitely
way.
have. No, I used to play it all the time. It's been a long time since I've played it.
Well, hey, it's
That's
been
all.
a long time since I played it too. That's why I was looking forward to playing Blade of Truth with you. It's the
Oh
best way to
yeah.
get to know a new person,
Right. Okay. Yeah. How do they play it in Oladalgo? You just so that I know
yeah.
how to play it on you by your rules.
Of course. So, you set it up like any sort of duel, one person on one side, one person on the other. You choose your weapons, you choose how it's going to end. And then every time someone gets a hit, you ask a question. It could be any question, and they have to answer it honestly.
So you still use swords then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He kind of like smiles.
So, like,
I'll be good at this game.
For instance, you and I are dueling, and I kind of poke him lightly in the chest, and I get you, and I would say, "All right."
Do we start?
I would ask you, "What's your favorite room in your giant house?" And you would have to tell me the answer honestly.
Oh. Okay. I get it. I see. All right. Here. We could do this right here. And he kind of like starts to move stuff out of the way and like scoot some of the hay to the sides with his boot. I've got my sword. You've got yours. All right. Okay. I just have to warn you. Sometimes it takes me a little time to think of questions. I'm not good with them. But
well, then I'll just have to try real hard not to get hit, won't
I? Okay. He kind of laughs.
So, well, how about one end of the stable and the other? You start at your end, I start at mine, and
he kind of looks to one side of the stable and the other. That's way too far apart.
Hey, good call. We'll start in the middle then. How about that bale of hay and this bale of hay?
All right. Yeah, my sword's not that long.
Yep, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Mine isn't either. It's a good point. So I've got my sword. You've got yours. Let's just keep it friendly, casual, flats only.
All right. Yeah, no reason to cut each other.
We're already going to be cutting with the questions, right?
What?
Don't worry about it. Okay, on guard then, right?
This he knows. He falls into like a fighting stance with his sword held, point kind of loosely held towards your center. On guard.
Jeremy, just based on how he's standing, how he's holding the sword, how good is he at this?
Your guess is that he's probably on par with you.
Oh shit. Okay.
Like, before, this guy has definitely come across as a bit of a buffoon and kind of soft and sweet. The moment that he falls into this stance, he has the look of a warrior.
So yeah, Lox actually says aloud as soon as he like drops into this stance, he goes, shit.
Okay. Let's use the duel rules then.
Oh,
Since we have them.
That's right. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Okay. So a challenge can be issued for a duel against an individual opponent, and if met, the terms are then set. The challenger, which I assume would be you in this situation, you determine the satisfaction that the duel demands. First blood, concession, or death. Sounds like maybe concession would be...
Yeah, concession probably makes
best
the most
fitting.
sense.
Okay. And then the defender then determines the means by which the duel will be fought. So in this case, swords. As the duel begins, each combatant describes which skill they will use to determine the initiative order. So common choices could be deception, insight, intimidation, performance, or sleight of hand. The duel then will proceed in rounds similar to combat, but more nebulous in how much time passes. So I think he's going to use persuasion. I think he's going to try to lull you into a false sense of security.
I'm going to go with sleight of hand.
Okay.
And sort of open with a little gimmick.
All right. New roll.
I got 21.
He got a 20. Okay. So it was a lot closer than you might have hoped, but you do manage to pull one over on him. He seems to have like seen you start what you were trying to do. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you throw an extra feign into your motions or something, and it catches him off guard, which gives you the opening. So on each one of your turns, you're going to declare an action, and you're going to make an opposed check to see whether or not you succeed. You could press an offensive with your weapon, which might be an attack roll versus a defensive roll from him. Or like cut the rope of a chandelier, which could be athletics versus perception, or something more nuanced if you wanted to, like persuasion versus insight, to try to see if they're you might be able to like lull them into a rage. And then each one of us is going to start with a D4. Let's see.
Oh, that's right. And then we go up the dice chain. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah, and then every time you get a success, your value will go up by a step. If you fail, your opponent goes up by a step, I think.
Okay.
If it's a tie, then you both increase.
Cool. Okay. I think for my first turn here, I'm just gonna do just like an attack with my rapier, because I think with the sleight of hand in the opener, I'm kind of like I sort of I come in high with my right hand and sort of come in for a high jab. And I imagine that he reacts to that, but the instant he does, I actually drop the sword and catch it in my left hand and come in low and try to just sort of swat his side with the sword.
Perfect.
So I'm going to do an attack with my rapier. 22.
Okay. So that definitely beat him. So you will go from a D4 to a D6. You thwap him with your blade as he was trying to come down into like a high guard, but just was not fast enough. And you slap him, and he kind of winces and takes like a side step in the direction that opposite of kind of like where you hit him in the ribs with your blade. And he kind of reaches like his elbow. He kind of tucks it up to the side of him. Oh, you are good. You're very good.
And Lox just sort of like circles him, and he tosses the sword back to his main hand with a quick little flick of the blade, and he says, just a little trick I learned. So, a question. Let me think. I know. What's your favorite place to ride around here?
Definitely the woods. You know, there's a beautiful place that's not very far from here. It's kind of a little scary at night, but during the day it's fine. It's you could kind of see the beginning of the desert, kind of just a little bit off in the distance, but there's still like a lot of forest and grass around. It's just really pretty.
Sounds lovely. All right, on guard.
Oh, almost like he's completely forgotten what you were doing here, and then goes back to his position. On guard. I think he is going to. I think he is going to lead with a direct counterattack. I think he's going to just basically like take a lunge forward and try to stab you with his sword. So this will be an attack roll from him. And then from you, go ahead and roll a d20 and then add your armor class minus 10 as a modifier.
So roll the dice, add my armor class, and
Minus
then
10.
minus 10. Okay.
Yep.
So
Basically just, taking it from a static number to a fluctuating one.
So I rolled 12, and my armor class is 17, so 29 minus, so 19 would be my roll then.
Okay. Yep. And he got you. He nailed you with a 26.
Damn. Oh.
So, you bring your weapon up to parry, and he jukes to the left and comes in, and what would be like a gut stab, he kind of thrusts past the side of your torso, and then swipes you with it, like thwaps it against your side. Point. He kind of stands back, very proud of himself. You know, the immediacy of combat completely lost the moment that he's made contact. Question.
Yeah, Lox kind of steps away from him and is sort of nodding. Nice one.
Question. Oh man. Let's see. Who is your favorite person that you travel with? Booyah.
Oh my God. Now I know how they feel on Drag Race when RuPaul's like, who should go home tonight and why? Oh my God. Okay. Lox is kind of taken aback by this question. He actually like my favorite person that I travel with. You know, I'm supposed to answer honestly, and so I'm going to answer honestly.
Uh-huh. He kind of like nods, almost gloating.
Each of them is a friend in their own way. And I have grown close to these people, closer than I've been to anyone really ever.
Yeah, but you can only have one best friend. He kind of says as if like that's obvious.
Right. Of course. They don't call them better friends. They call them best friends.
Right? See?
You know, Guillaume and I have known each other the longest. And he is just not the person that I thought he was. And I mean that in a good way. Today, Guillaume's my favorite. Tomorrow, might be somebody else.
He nods. Okay. All right. That's it's good to know. Cool.
On
He
guard.
goes from a D4 to a D6. On guard.
Okay. I'm gonna do acrobatics for my next one.
Ooh, okay.
We'll see how this goes. We'll see. I'll describe it once I roll.
Okay. So
Ooh,
what he's gonna do to counter?
he's no.
I'll let you describe it first.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me what you rolled, but
Oh, okay. So Locks sort of like goes to his left side, sort of takes a running leap off of a bale of hay and grabs a like rafter that is going across the stable and basically tries to like maneuver himself over and around his opponent.
okay. So I went ahead and rolled for him before you made your description. He is going to counter with, I think, insight to try to determine where you're actually going to strike from, which is not one of his better stats, to be fair. Okay, so what did you get total?
I got 11 total. I rolled a 4.
Okay, he did get a 15 total.
Okay.
So you maneuver yourself with guile, and he's just, it's not that he's deducing where you're going to go so much as just almost like he's done this so much that he just kind of understands, well, of course you're going to step there. That's the only place that you could step before you actually attacked. And every time that you try to find an opening, you find his blade there to parry and knock it away from him, and you're not able to land a blow this time. So he goes from a D6 to a D8. There will be no question, but it is his round. What does he want to do? He is actually going to rear back and kick the bale of hay out from underneath of you with athletics.
Ooh, with athletics. I'm gonna counter with intimidation. Basically try to get myself in a stance where he doesn't feel safe putting himself out, like kicking his leg out like that.
Okay. Excellent. So I got my roll.
I've got mine. I rolled 14.
He got a dirty 20. So you take like a feigning swipe at like his exposed knee, and even on one leg, with his other leg extended, he manages to bring his sword up with enough focus and force to knock your blade aside. And your blade almost comes out of your hand as your attention is wholly divided between either keeping your footing or keeping hold of your weapon. And you fall down onto your ass, kind of on the hay, and he just kind of hits the blade of his sword kind of against your shoulder, with just a little bit of force. Point. He kind of almost like jumps up and down, like pumping the air. Question. He then kind of like realizes that now he has to do the hard part. If you could be a Marquess, what would you do with the stuff you have, the money and the power?
If I had money and power, I'd spend as much of that money as I could trying to make things a little bit better for people who don't have so much money. I'd try to make roads better, houses better, just take care of people a little bit. Keep enough for myself. You know, I'm not opposed to being wealthy, but yeah, I'd try and use it for something. Money don't do anybody no good sitting in a vault.
He looks like he's really considering your insights on this. Like, this seems like it was probably a very personal question. He kind of nods. So you mean you'd pay people to fix broken houses and make the roads better? It's like putting the silver on the road would probably not work very well.
No, I don't imagine it would. Silver's pretty soft, but yeah, I'd pay someone who knew about roads, and
they would work to fix them.
Yeah, and
for the money.
I'd pay him for it, because I'd want him to come back and do more work for me. So I'd pay him well to fix the roads, so the roads were better for everyone who needed to use them.
Instead of just telling them that that's what they have to do.
Yeah, instead of just telling them that that's what they have to do, exactly.
Huh. Oh, okay. You can tell, like, this is definitely like struck a chord with this guy. This was revolutionary in his mind.
Amazing. Okay, Lox is pretty desperate to get a hit on this guy here. I got to start asking some real questions. Let's see. I'm gonna come at him with just a rapier attack here.
Okay.
Like, this dude obviously knows his way around a sword, so I'm not going to waste time here. Okay, 24.
Okay, that absolutely beats his 17.
Awesome.
So that brings you up to a D8.
So Lox just kind of, it's not anything flashy. They have a brief exchange, like the swords sliding together, and Lox just like swats his sword aside. He sees that the wrist is like not in a good position. He swats the sword aside and just follows up with a quick little right on the like side of the dude's thigh. Point.
Again, he kind of like hops away from it and kind of reaches down to grab that spot for just a second until the sting kind of goes away. Shakes his head. Oh, you certainly had a lot of practice.
Likewise, I honestly haven't met many of your skill.
Really? He kind of puffs up.
Yeah, truly.
Well, I feel the same way. He kind of smiles at you.
I'm not trying to boast, but I very rarely meet someone who's better at this than I am. So I'm honored to earn a point against you.
He nods. On guard.
Ah, a question first.
Damn it. Kind of kicks at the dirt.
What is the scariest thing you've seen at night around here?
Well, I won't go into the east wing of the house. It terrifies me. It's old and there's cobwebs everywhere, and when the wind blows, it makes this kind of howling noise, this whistle. Plus, she keeps all of her weird stuff there, and I just don't like it.
Yeah, her weird stuff.
Yeah, you know, like candles and the Morton and pestle, whatever.
Mortar and pestle. Yeah, okay.
That's the word. That's it. Yep.
I wouldn't really call those things weird though. Candles everywhere, mortar and pestle, and being a kitchen. You know, what other kind of weird stuff does she have in the East Wing?
There's parts of animals and stuff. You know, like not normal parts of animals, like, you know, heads on the walls on plaques and stuff, but you know, like chicken's feet and goat's hooves and pig's tails and bat wings and like bruja stuff, like witchy stuff.
That does sound scary. I wouldn't go in there either.
He nods.
What'd you see the last time you went in there? What spooked you? What's so scary about it?
Something about the tail of the wolf, you know? I think that's the scariest part. Yeah, I think that's why there's been attacks recently. I think he's gonna come for it at some point. I think he wants it back.
How long has she had the tail of this wolf? Seems like a weird thing to keep around, right? Probably stink after a while.
Yeah. It's all gross and weird. Hey. Wait a second. That's more than one question.
Hey, I gotta go for an extra point when I can, right?
It's just like for the beginning of the sword fight, you are tricky.
See, the duel never stops. It's still going even when you're talking.
He kind of stands there with his mouth open for a second. I didn't know we were still dueling.
Hey, that's the beauty of Sword of Truth. We get to know each other a little better, right?
He kind of nods and smiles. All right, you got your questions. He kind of emphasizes the S before he falls back into his stance.
All right. Well, I respect to this guy. I was like, dude, I'm just gonna keep going until he says something.
I gave you a few before he caught on.
I know. Like, I'm not sure how long Jeremy's gonna let me keep doing this. Okay. Let's see if I've got a good amount to go on here, but let's see if I can sneak one more out of him here. I think it's his up though.
It is. Yep. He's going to say on guard, and he is going to try to cash in.
Ooh.
So, what that means is, instead of him rolling, each one of us are going to roll what our current duel die is at. So you will roll a d8, he will roll a d10.
Cool.
The higher roll will win the duel. If there is a tie, the combatant who did not choose to end the duel will win. All right. Rolling his D10 now.
Rolling my D8. Oof.
What you got?
3.
He got a 4. So,
oh man.
He says, on guard, you say, I think it's, your go, you're up. And just about the time that you say that, before you're even fully in your stance, he charges forward and tackles you to the ground, like full-bodied. You crash into like a stack of hay bales and go splayed out, both of you together. And he is up and on his feet like a rabbit, and immediately has the blade like pressed against your throat. Point. I win.
Lox is laying back, and he actually does like a visible like gulp. Well fought.
Whew. That was. I like this sort of truth.
Yeah, me too. It's a good game, and well, I guess that means you get one last question. Yeah.
Oh. His joy in this moment has suddenly taken like a step down. Question. Question. Oh. I've always wanted to know. All of a sudden you hear a ding, 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 ding of a bell. He looks up. Oh no.
What's that mean?
There's an attack. Somebody's attacking Devia.
The wolf? Someone? What do you mean?
It's him, he says with his eyes like real wide, and sword in hand, he starts to take off running.
And Lox is like, Sabrina, wait.
Roll a persuasion.
I'm a little bit good at that. Oh my god, I just rolled a nat 1.
Oh no. By the time that you call out, he is gone.
Shit. And I'm gonna head back into I'm gonna go try to find everybody. I'm gonna go try to find my friends.
Perfect.
It's very hard to not chase after that.
Okay. So, you can easily find everyone kind of gathered together in the room that you've been given. It's like a small apartment. A couple of adjoining bedrooms that kind of share like a common space or what have you. When Lox bursts through the doors, what is everybody doing currently?
I think when we got into the rooms, Sylvie would have talked about what she had heard from looking at the servants, is that there was an initial attack, and that there's something hidden in this house in a wing that nobody goes into.
Yeah, Vera would have followed up and added to the conversation the stuff that she heard from the servant girls that she talked to, specifically about the fact that the Marquesa is well aware of what's going on and deliberately trying to blame the highwayman for it.
As you relayed all of these events, there is a like growing look of horror on Guillaume's face at the dawning realization that the staff that one employs knows about the goings on in a house very well and is potentially willing to share that information with other people. Like they pay attention and they know things. I thought that they just like made things work. Like that he's not saying anything. He's just got a
okay.
look of like oh god, the things I've done in front of those people.
She probably would have leaned on the part of these girls were it took little convincing, and the Marquesa treats them like crap. So they were excited to talk about her to someone else who
yeah, that just makes the horror like double over. Like, oh no, I've treated so many so poorly and done such like degrading things to and in front of them.
I think Chimeran just pats you, like comfort, not like comforting you, but just kind of gives you that pat on the shoulder, like, you know, I feel for you, man. I understand what you're going through at this moment, because he's reading your face.
So I think that we should find this wing. She is obviously hiding something. She knows more than what she is letting on, both in regards to whatever attack happened and whatever attack that she was, we saved her from.
It's not only that, but I'm sorry. If you really have this monster that's this big of a concern, you get your king to help you. You get your 30 guards to help you. You don't send a seamstress and a brothel owner out into the woods to kill a monster with a librarian.
I have a sneaking suspicion as well that if we say no to her tomorrow, she will be more cutting than just with her words.
Oh, absolutely. And she is probably also banking on us going out and doing this for her with the promise of more payment, knowing we're probably going to die, and then she won't have to give us any money.
So we should get as much information and intel on her as we can, so that we have something tomorrow that might save our necks.
So how are we getting to this wing of the house? Because with this many guards.
Sylvie looks to Guillaume immediately. You got into the ship?
Oh, we're doing that. Okay. Yeah, no, I can do it. It's you guys keep me around for other stuff too, right? Like it's not just the never mind. Don't answer that. Yeah. No, I got it. East Wing. Is this I'm assuming it's probably pretty soon that like the bells start going.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're, getting ready to transform, or maybe you've already started transforming or something. And then you all hear ding, 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 ding. And then within moments, the doors burst open and locks. How do you enter the room?
I sort of stumble in and say, she's got the wolf's tail in the East Wing, and I think he's here to get it.
By the way, all of you notice that there's like hay in Lox's hair and clothes.
I look positively tousled. I'm unkempt at this moment.
Guillaume will shift back to human form and say, okay, so I found out what's in the East Wing.
Mira's looking at Lox going, Doc, I think you have some. Did you have a good conversation?
We fought with swords. We fought with swords and we talked. Okay. And he told me that there's a wolf's tail in the East Wing, and I think that alarm is that he's here.
A little bit of sword fighting, eh? Oh, you mean literally like clash?
Oh, Guillaume, I did Sword of Truth.
Oh, you played Sword. I love Sword of Truth.
Yeah, it's worked for us well in the past, and it worked on him brilliantly.
I can't
And,
believe all the things I've told you playing Sword of Truth with you. It was dumb of me to play every single time. We should probably he's gone?
He went running off like he was going to fight the wolf himself. Yes.
But I liked him.
So we should go help.
I have a question for all of you. Anybody else want to? Because I'm thinking that this wolf isn't like a dog wolf. I'm thinking it's more like, and she kind of just motions at Guillaume and the other rats in the room. From what I saw when I was going through her memories, and
Do we just go get the tail and give it to the wolf person?
maybe he'll talk to us. You know, if we retrieve his tail for him.
That is what I am thinking. We should maybe we should split up. Go make sure that pretty boy that doesn't lose his doesn't die to this wolf, and then others go and get the tail.
Okay.
I'll
Who
go
wants
with
to go
Guillaume.
get the tail?
I'll go with Guillaume. We'll get the tail.
Okay. We'll go protect the handsome husband.
Okay, so it sounds
He
like
would make so much money at my Castillo.
it sounds like
I would be there every day. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't. Well, I guess no strings attached. That would be fun.
okay, so it sounds like Guillaume and Chimeran are headed for the tail.
Should we send a couple of the were-rat, like 2 of the were-rats with them as backup?
I
then
think
2 with us?
unless you're gonna insist otherwise, the 4 of them are gonna go for the tail instead of heading towards certain combat.
Okay.
Me and my rat army. Let's go.
They're not getting paid enough necessarily to go die.
Chimeran and the rat army.
Yeah, Chimeran and the were-rats is a great band name that I call
That
it.
really is.
That's my new
That's
band
a
name.
fantastic.
Their first song is Getting the Tail.
Gonna get me some tail.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks. We'll press our first album soon. Maybe for Christmas. Oh, it's just Sword of Truth. Yeah, there you go. All right. So Chimeran and the were-rats are going to head towards the east wing, and everybody else is headed towards the gatehouse, essentially.
So is Guillaume coming with us then? If it's Chimeran's going with the were-rats, are you going to come with us, Guillaume?
Guillaume was included in the.
No, yeah, I think I'm included. In
Okay,
the
I wasn't sure if we were just doing the 4 like extras to get, and then I wasn't sure how it was splitting up. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're going sneakiest folks over to sneak past any guards if we can.
Okay. So
Fox and his support team on the way.
all right. So by now, the sun has set, the moon has risen, and we see, this sky shot over the roofs of Alta Venania, as the party splits and heads in 2 different directions. Those of you who are headed kind of deeper into the via, heading for the east wing, there's a few moments where you have to press yourselves against a wall, maybe step inside of a door for just a moment as some guards kind of rush past. But it seems like all of the guards are headed towards the sound of these ringing bells, with no small amount of haste. So after a few moments, it is not difficult at all to move freely throughout the house, especially once you get into the east wing. You can see that what Vera's sources told her is absolutely true. Like, this place looks like it is tidied, but much less attentively than the rest of this house. It looks like they might kind of come through here and very quickly dust things off and then leave. There's absolutely stuff still in the corners. There's cobwebs. Most of the windows are all shuttered here. So it is very dark in this part of the house. And you start kind of wandering around looking for where this room might be. And you know that it's possible that it could take some time before you find it. Meanwhile, the other group of you is headed towards the gatehouse. As you get closer to that end of everything, you can see that the soldiers are starting to, the guards are starting to prepare themselves for a fight. You can already hear what sounds like the clang of steel on steel. I take that back. You hear the sound of steel, but you hear also the sound of screaming and rended flesh. So, as you get closer, you can actually see that the portcullis itself was not lowered all of the way. It looks like there is a wagon that is purposefully parked underneath, that has been partially crushed, but is leaving the portcullis probably a good 2 to 3 feet off of the ground. And that just inside the open gatehouse, there are a number of creatures that are kind of like wolves. Uh-oh. We lost Karen. That are kind of like wolves, but are standing on their hind legs. And that's not the picture I wanted to show. That's still what it looks like outside, but they are ferocious looking werewolves that the guard is trying desperately to fight. So what I would like from all of you, please, is to go ahead and roll initiative. And hopefully we can get Karen back in and get that sorted. Alright. We got a 17 from Lots. Sylvie got a 10.
Austin, I love that you're not 2 frames next to each other, but you're split between them on the opposite sides.
The incredible reappearing man trick.
Vera got a 15.
It's actually twins.
I'm the target audience. This is really getting me.
And twins. The moment that I fix it, that will be the moment that Karen comes back in. So, I'm going to let it ride for just a moment. That was Chimeran and Guillaume are elsewhere. So, I need to roll.
While we're waiting for Karen and you're doing that,
Mm-hmm.
Guillaume, Austin, your delivery on Guillaume sometime is just so brilliant. So I found out what's in the East Wing, it just freaking destroyed me, man. Like, just absolutely destroyed me.
I'm a huge fan of like an elaborate plan immediately undercut. And so this whole like, okay, you're gonna turn into a rat, then you're gonna sneak into the East Wing, and you're gonna find out, you're gonna like sneak around and find out what's in there.
Hey guys, blah 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 blah. Okay, so
all right, so done.
I know it's in the East Wing. Somebody scratch that off the list.
Y'all can thank me later. Okay. Last but not least, we have these peoples. Look at that, and there is Karen. Welcome back, Karen.
Nothing gears.
Okay. juggle some people around. While I do that, Lux, you are up first.
So the first thing I'm gonna do is try and find my boy Sabrino in the crowd and see if I can like spot him.
Yeah, definitely. He is kind of at the back of the exchange, but is trying to get towards like where this knot of combat is taking place.
Okay.
And he is yelling, "They're wolves! They're wolves! Use your daggers!"
Ooh, they must have silver daggers. Okay, cool. I'm gonna move toward him as far as I'm able to, and as soon as there's a werewolf in my path toward him, I will engage with that, the first one I encounter. That
will definitely happen as you're moving forward. You know, one of them downs one of these guards kind of right in front of you, and then kind of turns to you with like saliva and blood like in strings hanging from his mouth. His claws kind of held out wide.
Yeah, there's Lox has, I mean, never seen a werewolf before, and they're a lot bigger and scarier than the were-rats that he's tangled with, and so he's almost sort of like taken aback at the sheer size and ferocity of this creature, and he unfortunately doesn't have time to really even register like what it is or like what it's doing, but he will just attack with his silver rapier here. So first attack, I'm gonna go ahead and just do my double attack here.
Okay.
First roll is an 18. Second roll is 26. So an 18 and a 26.
That will definitely hit.
Both of them will?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, cool. You roll damage. That's 9 damage on the first and 15 on the second. So he just sort of like, as this wolf downs this guard and like turns to face Lox, Lox just doesn't hesitate and does like a quick like slash and then like a stab forward with this silver blade.
Okay. Both of your attacks manage to wound this creature, and because your blade is silvered, it injures this creature far more than it was anticipating. It howls in agony, in pain, as the edges of the wounds that you cause it kind of sizzle in smoke, almost like, you know, pan, like meat on a hot pan. And he rears his head back and howls up at the sky. And you hear one of the other werewolves that's not all that far from you call out to the others in a language you don't, well, it's not even really a language. It's almost just like a series of barks and growls, but it's definitely a communication, not just merely a howl. And several of the werewolves kind of look in your direction.
Oh no.
Vera, you're up.
I know whole person's not going to work on them. They're technically not. Let's take it from werewolves. Oh no, wait, it actually might, but I'm not going to do it yet. The first thing Vera is doing is she is going to kind of I'd like to make a quick glance to see if I can see any of them that don't have a tail.
Okay. Roll perception. You can have advantage.
$17.
Okay. You see one that is actually just now ducking beneath the portcullis. And you notice that this creature does in fact not have a tail. So in a second. So in the picture, obviously this creature has a tail, but just if you would imagine with me. The other strange thing that you notice is that this wolf stays on all fours. It does not stand on its hind legs like the others do, and it is noticeably smaller. For a wolf, it is still very big, but it is noticeably smaller than the upright werewolves. And what did you get on your perception again?
17.
Okay. Roll nature for me.
18.
Okay. Without a doubt, this wolf seems to be the one in the alpha position.
Okay.
This is definitely the one that the rest seem to be taking their barking orders from.
Okay. So then as my action for the turn, I would like to use Vera's ability that she has that I've never used before in game. It's called Universal Speech. As an action, she can choose 3 creatures within 60 feet. The chosen creatures can magically understand her regardless of the language she speaks for 1 hour. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until finishing a long rest or unless I expend a spell slot. So she's going to
they can understand you, but not necessarily communicate back.
Actually, 3 creatures can actually understand you regardless of the language you speak. Yes. Let me expand it and see if it says.
Okay.
Number equal to your charisma modifier. Minimum of 1. The chosen creature. Yeah, it doesn't say that we can actually talk to each other, but they can absolutely understand her.
Okay, cool.
So she's going to use her universal speech, and she's obviously going to flag the alpha one, but she's also going to flag the one that's standing in front of Locks, and then just another one that she can see, and she is going to kind of connect out with them, and she's going to say to them, stop, no, wait, we're not with them, we think we can help you, please stop attacking. And she's going to kind of just try to convince them that they can help. We can't. Oh, she's also going to add, we can't stand this Marquesa bitch. She's going to add that.
Okay. You see the ones that you've kind of targeted kind of look in your direction and do that kind of thing that dogs do where they tilt their head a little to the side.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. All right, that was Vera. It is the werewolves next. The werewolves continue to fight and tear at these guards. The 3 that you reached out to, the one that was not the alpha or the one in front of Locks, continues to fight with the guard, but not as savagely, not as viciously, more kind of trying to keep him from hurting the werewolf. The one in front of Locks kind of stands a little more defensive, almost like hesitant to attack you, and then kind of really looks at Locks for the first time, and then you can see kind of looks at some of the other guards, and then back to you, and kind of just takes more of like a purely defensive stance, kind of just a short distance away from you. The alpha makes his way kind of through the skirmish towards you, Vera. Ears kind of pointed backwards, looking straight at you, making full eye contact, kind of making its way towards you. And it's almost all the way to you before it stops, and it puts its nose in the air and starts like frantically sniffing. It continues to sniff and heads directly at Locks. When it gets to Locks, it starts to sniff all up and down Lox's legs and kind of looks up and sits. It extends a paw like out towards Lox and kind of like lightly scratches at his boot.
Lox kind of takes a step back. He's still holding his sword up defensively, but he kind of steps back and he's got his hand up. All right, what the hell's going on here?
This alpha barks at you. Makes kind of like a low whimper.
You come for your tail, right?
It nods its head up and down and extends its paw out towards you, kind of like batting at the air.
All right. And Locke says, all right, call off your wolves, call off your wolves. And he'll sort of try to yell to the guards like, fall back, back off, back off.
All right. Roll me a intimidation or persuasion.
If Lox is within 30 feet of Sylvie,
Certainly can be.
Okay. I'm going to use my reaction, Flash of Genius, where you can add 4 to the roll as
Nice.
Sylvie's yelling along with Lox.
Awesome. Ooh, I'm going to need it too. So I got a 4 on the die, plus 5 for intimidation, 9, and then plus 4, you said, from Sylvie's thing.
Yep.
So that will be 13 on the intimidation roll.
Does he still have the bardic inspiration I gave him?
Yeah, I didn't use it in the duel.
Because it's for 10
Yes.
minutes. Like,
Yeah,
how long do you think that worked?
We'll flub it. I think that's
Okay.
fine.
Was that, what die size was that?
Vera is a D8.
D8. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's really gonna
Or
help.
D8.
And I rolled an 8 on it. Yes.
Ooh,
So that's
nice.
hell yeah.
21 total.
Holy
with all
shit.
the help. I needed a lot of fucking help to make that happen, everybody.
Okay. So you kind of call out like a couple of times. It's hard to even kind of raise your voice over like the din of like the screaming and like these men like fighting for their lives with these, like several of them have these silver daggers in their hands. But eventually you raise your voice loud enough that several of them like start, not realizing that you were maybe even back there. And after a while, the fighting kind of like dulls down and all of the exchanges kind of come to an uneasy truce as the werewolves kind of stand there, claws and teeth ready, not entirely sure of whether or not to trust the situation, but they have backed up to where like their backs are together, all except for this alpha who is still sitting on the ground near you, Lox. The guards have fallen back into like rough formations, these daggers held aloft in their hands. Oh, I have a picture of the guards as well. So for the moment, it seems like things have drawn to a stalemate.
Yeah, Lox will.
This is what the guards look like.
Oh, cool.
Not all of them, but several of them have a dagger. Some of them have multiple daggers at their belts.
Lox will approach the wolf on all four on either side. We're trying to resolve this situation. We can bring it to you.
The wolf kind of watches you as you speak, Its mouth kind of open, its tongue lulled out to the side just a bit. It's actually wagging its tail while you're talking to it. And it has turned its ears from flat back to fully forward, like listening to you. And it gets up and comes and like stands next to your leg, and almost like leans against you.
Lox will kind of look at the others and say, What is this thing's deal? What's going on here?
Lux, do you know this wolf?
I can't say that I have ever known a wolf, no. But it seems to know me.
But if our theory is right, and it seems like it is, Lox, I'm thinking this wolf has a different form that you probably are familiar with. It sniffed and smelled you. It knew your scent.
So he didn't always used to be a wolf then.
Thinking it's more of like a Guillaume situation.
Well, then shift back. Become a person so I know who you are.
Tilts its head at you and like lays its ears flat.
Maybe without its tail, it can't.
That's why you want your tail back, because you're stuck like this.
It immediately sits up, parks up. I think that's when we cut back to inside, where Chimeran and his were-rats are making their way through the east wing, room by room. I would like for both Guillaume and Chimeran, please, to roll investigation checks for me.
That's a 14 for me.
Okay.
12 for me.
Guillaume got a 12. Okay. It takes a long time, a lot longer than you would have thought. But eventually, you manage to find a room that the other rooms that you've come across that are like it have like, well, it wouldn't be an ensuite bathroom, but they have like a separate room that is attached to them. And when you get to this other one, the layout of this is exactly the same as these others. However, where one of these ensuite rooms would be, there's an armoire in front of it. And at first, one of you looks in, doesn't see anything, heads back out. Somebody else catches it, however. Let's say Chimeran, because Chimeran got the higher result. Chimeran, you're about to step out of this room, but that thought crosses your mind. And if you look kind of beneath the armoire, you can see the frame of a door that's just been hidden behind it.
I would immediately call back to Guillaume and some of the others. Help me move this. Because I know I can't do it myself.
Yeah, we have like the weakest of our group
But we're
trying
sneaky.
desperately with like the extra
But
like
there's
four.
a lot of you.
Yeah, there's like 6 of us just like very quietly like lifting as hard as we can and just scooting side
The
to
power
side,
of
like
rats.
trying to move this armoire out of the way.
Okay, so yeah, with concerted effort, you manage to move this thing out of the way. And as soon as you do, you're kind of struck with an aroma that you hadn't really noticed before. This place is overall a little musty, but this is definitely a little more pungent. Definitely the smell of decay.
Oh, I'll try to. I'll check over the door, see if it seems like it's safe. If there's any magic guarding it, any wards on it, anything like that, any runes carved into it.
Okay, so you can make an investigation or an arcana.
Okay, let's go with Arcana. That'll make it a 26.
Okay. You look over this door and you don't find anything that has been manufactured or added or carved, or anything that seems as though it would have been placed as an enchantment on this door.
Okay, I'm gonna see if it's unlocked. Just try to open it.
It is, because it's like in an ensuite kind of room. There's not even a keyhole in it, so you're able to open it without any problem. The room on the other side is filled with the trappings of what you would recognize as like non-studied magic. Like, this is not like a library full of tomes and scrolls and things kept in like neat, nice order. This is very much kind of the term black magic wouldn't probably be right, but it's essentially like purely
Chaotic?
experimental. Yeah, chaotic magic. This is magic that's been like passed down from person to person kind of thing. But there's, he was not lying. Like, there's pieces of animals hanging all over the place in this room. There's probably even like a small like woodland animal of some kind that is splayed on a nearby table. It looks like maybe its organs were being read as some kind of portents.
Guillaume will turn to Chimeran and say, "Oh my God. This place is a treasure trove. You never see anything about these homespun mages are some of the most innovative. It's oh God, look at that. No, do you see the way that the innards are laid out? See, I read a book and they never get into specifics about like how this really works, but it sounds like from what we've been able to glean that they're able to like read prophecy in rabbit intestines. It's insane. You shouldn't be able to do that. But we're looking for a tail, right?"
Yeah, I think Chimeran was so shocked at what came out of your mouth, not expecting those words, that this was fantastic. Yeah, he was just like, you gobsmacked. He's like,
"Listen,
Don't
I don't
even know
want
what
to
to
do
say."
any of this magic. This is horrendous. This is awful. I would never do this. Books, that's where the real stuff's at. But like, you let a researcher into this room for like 30 days, they're going to know some things that we did not know before."
No. And with that, we're looking around for the tail,
All right.
horrified of what
I'm
I
also
just-
trying to like see if there's any like little like magical doodads or like divining rods or like it just like other like little like homespun whatever kind of magic this is. This like it feels like the stuff that you just can't find in a book, at least not at the libraries he's going to. So he's keeping an eye out for like what else is around here. This place seems like an incredible archaeological find, if nothing else.
Okay, so both of you roll me investigation checks. And yeah, let me see.
Got a nat 20.
A nat 20, okay.
So for a total of 20.
Fair enough. Chimeran, you kind of take a glance like around the room, kind of from the doorway, and immediately you spot what you're pretty sure is a wolf's tail, kind of hanging pinned to the wall in the corner, kind of behind some other stuff. But the light coming in here or something just happened to be at the right angle and it caught your attention. We'll get to that in just a second. Guillaume, you're looking around and it's almost like a kid in a candy store. It's hard to find what you're looking for because everything you see is something you want. So your brain is, just going haywire at all of the possibilities in the analysis paralysis. But the one thing that your eyes finally do land on is what looks like a book that is bound in the same kind of leather as the book that you found in the man that you killed in the duel's house. The one that Chimeran found. Chimeran, did you show that to everybody? Or has that been kept secret?
I'm not sure if I shared that with people,
Okay.
to be honest.
If Chimeran did not share that information, then this is the first time you've been seeing this. But essentially, it is a thick red leather, and it doesn't look like it has been dyed this color. It looks like it is naturally red. And it is almost scaly in certain places, almost reptilian looking. But when you pick it up, it is a little warm to the touch.
I'm gonna be having that. That's gonna be perused at a later convenient time.
All right.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure that that is something that I would not have shared at some point. I wouldn't have shared it when we got it because we were kind of hiding and stuff.
Mhm.
But I feel like that is something that at some downtime that we would have shared it with everybody else.
I
Okay.
feel like we did
Perfectly
because
fair.
I feel like there was further
Yeah.
conversation about it because it was kind of like we discussed whether or not it was connected to the vampires somehow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I seem to.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like
it
we
seemed
did
like a
talk
big
about it.
clue, so
Yeah.
I seem to think I would have
Okay.
shared it for sure. Yeah.
Then you will absolutely proc to that. Like, you'll notice that this is maybe not the exact same size, shape book, but it is definitely bound in the same material.
I'll just like I don't have time to like really look this over right now, but I want to just like do a quick like crack it open and just look to see, do I recognize the language that it's written in? Like, is it going to be something I can read?
So yeah, you pop this open and start kind of thumbing through. The first thing that I need you to do is to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh God. Okay, Constitution's not my dump stat, 13. Not great, not
13. All right. So you open this book very anticipating the information that you're going to find locked away within, and almost immediately, before you really even understand what is on the pages that you're looking at, you are overcome with an intense wave of nausea. The room like starts to spin. The words and things on the page like start to shift in a really uncomfortable way. You take 18 points of poison damage.
Oh shit. Now that's like magical, right?
Yes. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, Guillaume will I think with that much significant intake of damage at one time, he would probably just drop the book, like drop to his knees and just start like retching and like trying to aim away from the book in case he does actually vomit, but like mostly just like ooh, oh God.
Well, let's
yeah, I won't keep going.
Yeah, thank you.
I think hearing that behind me, I'm assuming I haven't got the tail at this point, I guess, but
I think you're headed that direction.
yeah.
Unless you were doing something else.
No, I was going to be getting the tail while he found whatever he was finding, but I guess my thought is, as soon as I've gotten the tail, I'd be turning around, seeing what's wrong with Guillaume.
Okay.
He'll hold the hand up. I'm good. I'm good. Do what you're doing. Do what you're doing. We gotta pack this away, not to look at it now. Oh my God. Oh. And he'll like stand up very gingerly and just like carefully pick the book up with that kind of like, this thing has hurt me before, and just tuck it away in his bag.
Chimeran, you have reached the other side of the room and have pulled the tail kind of off of the nail that's driven into the wall where it's hanging. And you can see that it is a It is, in fact, a wolf's tail that looks like it's the majority of the length of it. And it is bound in an embroidered trim. So it looks like the kind of trimming that would go on the outside of like an outfit. Sylvie has spools and spools of this kind of stuff, back in her shop. This has been wound with a length of this this kind of trim. And I just lost my place. You can make an Arcana check if you would like to.
Have I already got it in my hands?
Yeah, I would say
At this
so.
point?
I mean, unless you're gonna leave it on the wall and inspect it before you grab it.
No, I would grab it, and then I don't think, like, if I think there's something up with this, like I obviously do because it's kind of weird. I wouldn't even try. I would just turn to the expert in the room and say, Guillaume, look at this.
Yeah, so Guillaume, you're on the floor dealing with your situation, and this is kind of thrust in front of your face. This wolf's tail bound up in this embroidered trim.
Okay.
What do you make of this?
Kind of look it over, see if it has any obvious aura of anything.
Go ahead and roll the Arcana check.
But he is severely poisoned,
Oh, no.
and even with his +7, he gets a 9.
Yeah, you try to take a look at this thing, and you're kind of studying this for a second, and the pattern on this trim starts to kind of do the same thing that the words and the sketches in the book were doing, where they're kind of moving a little, almost a magic eye, where they're kind of coming in and out of focus. And that sends another wave of nausea through you.
Yeah, he's like, it looks like I want to throw up again. And he'll just go to like down on his knees and retch a bit more.
Okay, not knowing what it is or if we should be removing it or not removing it, we're going to play cautious. And Chimeran is just going to take the wolf's tail and kind of maybe take off his like outer doublet or whatever and wrap the tail in that and carry it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of the other were-rats will come forward and try to help Guillaume to his feet. And sorry.
One question. Not that I can tell about magical or whatever, but is it cloth or is it some sort of metal that this embroidered thing is wrapped around it? Like, is it?
Your guess is that it's cloth. It looks like, again, the same kind of dressmaker's trim that you've seen before, though whatever was used to make it reflects as if it's metallic. It looks silver in the light.
In fact, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I'll continue to bundle it up and take it with me.
Okay.
Basically, I think I'm going to, at this point, go to Sylvie because I think Sylvie could help me more because Guillaume is right now useless.
Being helped by these other were-rats, leaving the eastern wing behind. What is the reaction from Chimeran and Guillaume as you kind of step out into this courtyard and find these two sides of armed individuals, werewolves and guards from this villa, kind of standing across from one another but not engaging? Oh, and there's a wolf that is sitting there leaning against Locks.
Hey everyone. I think we found what everyone's probably here for. We're all gonna stay chill, right? Everyone's cool.
Yeah, this one here is looking for the tail,
Yeah, Chimaran?
Sylvie, can you come here for a second, please?
Yeah, Sylvie goes over to Chimaran.
I would open up the wrapped tail just enough so you could see what's going on, but I don't want to really like flash it around to everybody at this moment because don't know what's going on. But what do you make of this? And he'd definitely be indicating the embroidery that's wrapped around this thing.
Yeah. Sylvie's gonna
So-
kind of, without, like Chimaran said, like without like trying to like flash it to everyone.
Kind of
Sylvie's gonna like
discreetly.
kind of take a closer look and see if she can see anything.
Okay. Yeah, roll up your Arcana check.
Okay. Ooh, 27.
Holy shit. All right. You take a look at this, and almost immediately you recognize that obviously this is done to look like Taylor's trim. And it's, it would serve as Taylor's trim without any problem, but you realize that the pattern that is hidden in this is actually cleverly hidden runes that are a modified version of the Moonbeam spell. But what's really strange is somebody has gone back and has hastily sewn like silver thread crudely through each and every single one of these runes.
Yeah, you see, Sylvie's kind of looking to this. She's like muttering to herself, just, oh, this just appears to be this type of it appears to be this type of gosh, the word is escaping me.
Trim?
Trim. Thank you.
Spell?
Yes.
Okay, oh, there you go. Mhm.
Yeah. It appears to be this kind of, hold on here. As she like looks closer, there are runes in here. She says like a little bit very, very quietly, just so that Chimaran can hear her. And they appear to be interlaced with silver thread.
Not supposed to be on this tail, right? Is it safe to
Definitely
remove?
not.
Stop! You hear a voice call out. Looking up, you see approaching from another entrance to the house into the courtyard is the Marquesa, who has her hands held out in front of her. Both of her hands are wreathed in fire that is black and purple. No one move. That tail needs to stay exactly the way that it is. Do you understand?
Hold your horses, witch. We saw your
She
black
flicks her
magic
hand
room.
towards you, Guillaume. I would like for you to make an intelligence saving throw.
Hey, I'm good at that one. Hey!
Sylvie can use her reaction
21.
again. Okay, perfect. Never mind.
Okay. You feel like almost like an intense belch like work its way up rapidly from your stomach and like swell up into the back of your throat. Almost like it's going to just force its way out. And again, with that nausea that you're already fighting, you feel for just a moment that it might not be the only thing. But you manage to suppress that and keep that feeling down. And it does not, the spell does not take.
I throw a dagger at her.
You absolutely can.
It was such a good roll, and then it rolled over to a 2. So that's a 9 to hit.
Chimaran, You very quickly, I don't know, you keep your daggers like hidden in the folds of your clothes or on your belt or
Yeah, they would be hidden, but easily accessible.
right. So your
Yeah.
hand kind of
I
disappears
just
into
boom.
like yeah, and it comes out, flashing in the moonlight. But just as you're about to release the knife, you realize that the wolf without the tail is now all of a sudden in your path. And you kind of like jerk your wrist to the side and your dagger goes flying, kind of wild. The wolf has left Lox's side and in a briefest of moments has crossed the distance and leapt at the Marquesa and tears her throat out with its teeth. It rides her down to the ground and just shakes her like a toy.
I turn back actually to the tail and I again ask Sylvie, is it safe to remove?
Sylvie is just like mouth open. Like I imagine her fingers are still like holding this embroidery. Um
Sabrino has started to like cross the distance with his sword drawn. And
yeah, I want to run forward and like, whoa, hey, whoa, buddy. I get it. You're mad right now. Get it?
The wolf is killed
much bigger
again.
than all of this. This is much bigger than all this, and you'll still get paid.
While that's happening, Im, what were you saying?
Yeah, I think Sylvie is can everyone just put your swords away? We need just some answers here. Like I am not doing anything with this until and she's going to like if Chimeran will have it, she's going to take the tail. Like just kind of like hold it.
Chimeran is looking at you almost like what are you doing? Like what's going on? Why aren't you answering me? And then he'll just as he looks at her and into her eyes, he relinquishes it. He trusts you.
He looks to him. We cannot make any more decisions on what is happening until we get an idiom of some kind of answer that is happening.
I think I can help with that. And she'll go over to the alpha wolf that's bathing in the blood of the Contessa, and she'll kind of approach really slowly because she has the universal speech up, and we need answers, but you can't transform. We're just scared. I would like to, if you will allow me, I would like to read your thoughts and you can let me know what is going on here.
The wolf has spun around at your words, speaking to it. Again, blood and viscera kind of dripping from its maw. It has turned its attentions from you to Sabrino, and has its lips curled back, its teeth exposed, and is growling low.
I know, but he is just an idiot that married a rich woman.
The wolf slowly shakes its head back and forth.
Will you allow me access to your thoughts?
It growls a little bit in your direction, almost kind of snapping its head towards you. And then slowly the growl kind of fades. And it lowers its head and nods.
Okay. She will cast Detect Thoughts on it. And I guess she'll start. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go.
Okay. At first, you get thoughts of just seething anger, like the kind of anger where like the edges of your vision are red, and the bloodlust, the desire for revenge, and that kind of that hit of dopamine that comes from coming so close to completing a long-standing goal. And after a moment, if you do probe deeper, okay, you get the thoughts of that he wants Sabrino's blood. He wants to finish this. That finally this plot will be done and he will be avenged.
Okay, so seeing that she's going to specifically ask, what did he do to you? I need you to think about what he has done to you so I can see it.
You see a memory of being stuck in a cage made of silver with a bear trap style hunter's trap latched onto your leg, and you see a figure approaching, blade in hand. And just before the end of this memory flash happens, you recognize Sabrino's face, contorted in anger and tear-streaked though it is. He is the one who took the tail of this animal.
Vera will kind of say to the rest of the group, she'll repeat what she's seeing out loud for the group. I just you just need to ask him. I can ask him things, you can ask him things, and I just need you to think about answers.
How does he know me?
She'll wait for the images.
You see another memory of what looks like a dappled forest in the daylight. Similar, very similar to the countryside that you just rode through. And next to you, crouched in the underbrush, is a hooded individual that when he turns himself fully enough to you that you can make out his face, you recognize as a younger Lox.
Did this Lox have both of his eyes or not? Would Lox have had both of his eyes at that time or not? No? Okay.
I don't remember.
I wasn't sure. I couldn't
Matt?
remember. Matt said no. Yeah, he should
No?
have said.
Okay.
Yeah, he lost his eye when he was still a kid.
Okay. So yeah, it is. That might even be what gives it away at first.
Yeah, she'll just say he knows you from sometime in your past. You were in a hood hidden in grass with him.
He's probably with me when I was with the Highwaymen. Someone from that crew.
I guess she'll ask him straight out. She'll just say, will giving you your tail back let you shift to mortal?
There's a long pause, and you get the feeling of hope. That is the desire. There's a level of confidence that that's the case, but there's definitely a weakness behind that confidence. It's not complete.
Do you guys want to know anything else? I mean, I think we need to give him his tail back. I don't know what else to do.
He barks.
Guillaume
He
will
wants
say,
to kill Sabrina.
Guillaume will
outright.
say to Sabrina, because you've communicated that Sabrina was the one that took his tail. Like, Sabby, why did you do it? Like, what was the reason?
She told me that I had to. I
See,
didn't want to do it.
It was all her fault. You don't need to be mad at him. Can you cover your ears for a second, honey? Just earmuffs. Just, yeah.
Puts his hands up.
Yeah. He's not very bright. Can you just communicate that to the wolf? He just kind of does what he's told.
Will someone tell me when they're done talking?
We're good now. And I'll kind of like reach up, pull his hands away from his. Yeah, you've been wonderful. Just stay there. You can put your sword away.
What?
No, we're good. We're good.
Are you sure?
Hush.
I think he's mad at me.
No, I know. It's okay. It's okay. There's a little more business to attend to. Just hush.
He kind of puts his sword away, looking very uncertain. He actually steps like 3 or 4 steps closer to Lox.
Lox will actually step a little closer toward him too, and just kind of give him like a little like reassuring nod, just like everything's good.
That definitely seems to assure him at least a little.
I think
The wolf barks again.
I think Sylvie turns to Sabrina. Do you know what she was trying to do with this tail? Why is it enchanted in this way?
She wanted to make sure that he didn't turn back. He wasn't able to become a human again.
Why? Is this her ex-husband?
He hangs his head. He nods.
Yep. Okay, with that, Sylvie's going to try and work to take this, to try and dismantle this embroidering. Make sure that there's no silver on it either.
Okay. Yeah, it takes a little bit of doing, but again, you're a seamstress. I imagine you have, whatever the Renaissance Baroque equivalent of seam rippers would be, probably on you. And you're able to kind of take it out. Like the trim itself is just kind of on the outside of the fur, but whenever they sewed the silver into the runes, they incorporated like a bundle of the fur of the tail with every like pass. So you kind of have to like work at it a little bit to get it out of there, but you're able to do so. And the minute that the last of the stitches in the thread is all pulled away, he immediately starts to transform. He is...
As she's working on that, Vera would say, this is why she didn't want us to tell the king about it. She didn't want the king to find out what she did to her husband. Because she would lose everything.
She transforms into a man in his middle age. He has kind of mostly dark black hair with kind of shocks of kind of graying at the temples, and his face is kind of covered with a dark salt and pepper like stubble. He when he transforms, he is missing his left foot, and immediately one of the other werewolves comes over, scooping him up underneath his arm to kind of give him something to lean against. When this werewolf comes to help him, the werewolf also transforms. And Austin, how is Pig helping this man to stand, who's no longer has a foot?
Yeah, I think he sees him like kind of wobble a bit, and he just like immediately shifts. He's like, "I got you, boss. I got you. I got you." And he's just like holds on to him, like fully, like kind of like bear hugging like him by the like waist to make sure he doesn't like fall over. But Pig's huge, so it's like he can do it with kind of one arm. Like, I got you. It's okay.
Thank you, Pig. Appreciate it. He kind of turns and looks at you, Lox. Lox, this is the first time that you have ever seen this man's full visage. Every other time that you've seen him, his face has been mostly covered, at least, you know, the upper half of it. He looks, and there is a smile that crosses his face, and in that instant, you know exactly who this is. This is the Highwayman. It's been a long time.
You remember the last thing you said to me before I left?
The smile kind of fades from his face. Regrettable. My behavior was out of line.
It doesn't matter. I didn't listen anyway.
The smile returns. Very glad that you didn't. Pig. And he kind of like gestures towards Lox and hobbles his way in that direction before he is going to take you into an embrace, Lox, if you'll have it.
It's a like very hesitant embrace, and at first like Lox is just kind of standing there like letting himself be hugged, and then he like slowly brings up his arm and will like embrace this man, and then his other arm will come up and he kind of puts it around Pig's shoulders, and he says, "Hey, Pig, good to see you."
No, Loxley, it's so good to see you again. And it's just like, yeah, just like fully like nuzzling your head, like because he probably is like, despite you being a pretty tall half orc, he's probably like a half head taller. Just like,
Well, forgive the involving you in all of this. He kind of gestures around. The rest of you, please put your weapons down. The rest of the guards are like dumbfounded, not really sure exactly what to do in this situation. But now, seeing the lord of the house returned, not dead, they listen. They put their arms down. The werewolves transform, and we see many familiar faces, the other members of the gang that we last saw, as well as a few new hires. And the tension slowly ratchets down in the courtyard of this villa. I know you must have a lot of questions, he says to Lux.
Yeah, the first one being what the fuck is going on?
Yes, I understand. Please, let's move inside.
All right.
And as all of you move back into the villa, perhaps to have drinks, I think this is where we're going to call tonight's session.
Yeah, I think I just want to say, like, you would hear, like,
Mhm.
as they're all walking inside, like, Guillaume has his arm around Sabrina's shoulder, and they're kind of the last two going in. You hear him say, like, so you're out of a marquisship and you're out of a home. If you like fucking and money, boy, do I know the Vera for you.
Bellissima. All right. Uh this was awesome, y'all. Another fantastic session. Thank all of you very, very much for just, again, taking everything that I throw at you and making something absolutely brilliant out of it. It's amazing that y'all are able to do that each and every single time, no matter how big the curveball that I throw at you. It's amazing. All right, I'm going to pass things back over to my players so that they can give any kind of parting words that they would like. Once again, if they have anything going on they might want to bring up, they're welcome to mention it. And then I think we're going to go ahead and call it an evening. So we're going to start in reverse order with Karen.
Hello, everyone. As always, it is so wonderful to play with all of y'all. It's amazing, and I love every session, and I can't wait for the next one where we find out what the heck is going on. I mean, with that, I'm going to pass it to Austin.
This was so goddamn fun. I appreciate the hell out of every one of you for everything that you put into this, and Jeremy, you especially, for putting this all together and putting all the effort in, because I know how hard it is to plan everything and make it happen, and it's just fantastic what you put together for us every month. This was so goddamn fun. I'm so excited, and thank you for making me not be a liar. I was playing Pig this episode. This was, yeah, again, just a blast. I can't wait to see what we do next time when were-rats and werewolves combine. Also, I have so many questions for werewolves, because I'm going to be like, all right, what are the downsides and how quick is it going to be for me to get your powers? If I got were-rat powers, no point in going halfway. Like, let's go for the cool one. So anyway, with that, I will pass it to M.
Yeah, this was great. I think there might be a werewolf in all of the games that I'm playing right now, which is great. I love it. I'm always a big fan, so always like a good werewolf. So, but yeah, amazing. I love that combat almost happened. It was close, but we managed to talk our way out of it, as we usually do, which is also just absolutely incredible and very refreshing. So very, very, very fun. Yeah, I will pass it off to Matt.
Yeah, one of my just favorite sessions. I had such a good time with the duel, with the like awkward dinner, learning some things. Like there were a lot of like twists and discoveries and things. Just yeah, top of your game tonight, Jeremy. I had such a blast. Yeah, I can't wait to play again. I get to ask my like adopted dad how he became a werewolf next session, so I'm excited for that. And yeah, Kenya mentioned in the chat, but we might have some werewolf allies against these vampires now, so we're gonna get to live our underworld fantasy. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna pass it on over to Kenya.
Wow. Again, just another amazing session. I say it every time to close it out. I'm going to say it again. Waiting for this game every month it just takes so long to get here. Then we get here and it seems like these 4 hours that we play together go in like 5 minutes, and I just want more. But Jeremy, thank you so much for the awesome session. Thank you for the amazing RP opportunities, and thank you for letting us do that dueling thing that we completely and totally randomly came up with in the middle of our break as like a game to play. So that was so great. It was like just kind of, yeah, let's play a game called Sword of Truth. And that's what happened. It was great. I cannot wait till next month or till the next session because I don't know how we're doing with Christmas, but I can't wait. So thank you, sir, a million times over. Thank you, all of you. And I'm going to sling it back over to Jeremy that way for the end of the game.
Thank all of you very, very much. That's incredibly kind of all of you to say. Yeah, it's always really, really fun to find something in the game that really resonates with the whole table. And it was awesome to watch y'all react that way to a character that I wasn't 100% certain of how I was going to have him fit. So I'm really happy to hear that it was that it went over well. And yeah, I had a ton of fun having him interact with all of you, as well as just the way the story came together, the way all the little beats came out. It felt very, very natural. It didn't feel like I really had to force much of anything, which is always such a refreshing thing with this group. All of you are very easy players to play off of. So I appreciate that dearly. Yeah, this was a blast. Okay, thank everybody so very, very much who may have watched along with us this evening, or if you're watching at some point down the road in the future. It is very, very appreciated that you stopped by the channel and that you gave this a try. If you like this kind of content, hit the like button and do the subscribe thing. YouTube really likes it whenever you do that stuff, and it's healthy for the channel. So yeah, I appreciate it. Share the link around, talk to your friends about it, tell them about this goofy himbo character. Yeah, just remember that kindness is a free action. It costs you absolutely nothing to be nice to people, and the world really, really does need more kindness in it. There's a lot of hard things going on right now for a lot of people, and you never know what that is. But the chance that kindness is going to be not well met is pretty slim. It can make an absolute difference in somebody's day, week, month, year. You don't know. And it costs you nada. So if it can cost you nothing and it can possibly make all of the difference for somebody else, then that's an easy transaction. Yeah, I'll climb down off the soapbox now and go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you all so very, very much. I hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you are stateside. Everybody have a fantastic holiday. We will hopefully get to play in December before Christmas. We'll be hashing that out in our private chat pretty soon here and come to a final consensus. So yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and call it an evening. Until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.